if you're in the mood for a little treat and you don't have eggs or butter or milk or a cake mix even, you can still make some cupcakes. And you may even have those ingredients, but you don't want to use them for something like a dessert, and you'd rather keep them for breakfast or dinner. But I'm going to show you how you can make a really good tasting cake without eggs and milk and butter. We have 1.5 cups of flour, 1 cup of white sugar, 3 tablespoons of cocoa. If you're making this recipe because you have food allergies in the house, you may want to just use Hershey's brand cocoa, where the only ingredient is cocoa. I have a great value brand baking cocoa here, and it lists as the ingredient cocoa, but it says it may contain traces of milk. So if you're doing this for an allergy, a milk allergy, you may want to stick with the Hershey's brand, or be sure and read your ingredients list on your cocoa package. 1 teaspoon of baking soda, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I have 1 teaspoon of vinegar. The recipe calls for white vinegar. I've used apple cider vinegar, I've used white vinegar. They both work out wonderfully. 5 tablespoons of vegetable oil and 1 cup of water. I'm going to preheat my oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and we'll get started. So in a large mixing bowl, I'm going to add the flour and the cocoa. If you wanted to just make a vanilla cake, you would exchange the cocoa for 3 tablespoons of flour. And I'll leave the recipe for the vanilla cake in the description box, as well as this chocolate cake. This is sometimes called a wacky cake or a depression cake. And it was probably called a depression cake because sugar and butter and eggs may have been hard to come by during the Depression. And also it's been called a war cake as well for the same reason. Okay, I'm going to add the sugar. The baking soda and the salt. And if you want to, instead, we're making cupcakes today, but if you wanted to make it into a cake, just put it into a 8-inch round cake pan or a square 8 by 8 inch pan. I think that the 8-inch pan works out better. And if you wanted to make a birthday cake, then just double this recipe and make 2 8-inch round cakes. If you wanted to keep this vegan, or if you didn't have butter to make frosting, you can just make a glaze to put on the top of it. Now I'm just I like to just go through and kind of just push down these cocoa lumps. And I'm mixing up the sugar and the flour as I do it. This is kind of a fun cake to make with kids. And I'll show you why in a minute. You can actually make this in the pan you're going to bake it first, but I prefer doing it in a bowl. But if you didn't want to wash as many dishes, go ahead and mix it up in the pan that you're going to cook it in. Of course, that doesn't work for cupcakes, but if I'm going to make an 8x8 inch pan, square pan, then I'll just spray it with Pam first and then put these ingredients in and mix it up. Okay, this is the part that your kids or grandkids might find fun. Okay, we're going to make 3 wells or holes, one a little bit bigger than the rest, and we're going to add our vinegar to one of the holes. We're going to add our vanilla to the other small one. I'm going to measure out 5 tablespoons of oil to the larger hole for depression. That might also be another reason why it's called depression cake. That's what I thought it meant for a long time. Okay, and then over that we add our 1 cup of water. And then just mix it up. Just with a spoon. You don't have to be crazy with getting mixers out. That's one reason why I like this cake, is that it's pretty easy to put together with ingredients that I already have. Just make sure to mix it up well enough to get all of that flour incorporated. I like this cake because if I don't have a cake mix and I need to make a cake to take somewhere for cupcakes, I don't have to run to the store. You may be quarantined at home with the kids, and this would be something that you could do that would take a few minutes, or would be something that they could look forward to during the day. Okay, I'm just going to prepare my cupcake pan here. And I'm not sure what the best way is to fill these cups. I see people using ice cream scoops, so I'll try that. So it filled 12 muffin cups, and I'm going to go ahead and put this in the oven now at 350 for about 20 minutes. Okay, so you can see they spring back. Check it with a toothpick. If you're not sure, and the toothpick comes out clean. So the cupcakes are cool, and we're going to make a little bit of frosting. This may be enough. This was leftover frosting that I had from making a birthday cake, and I put it in the freezer, and I took it out. It's been on the counter thawing for a couple of hours. But I will show you how easy it is just to make a small amount of frosting as well. I like vanilla frosting on my chocolate cake. So you can use, if you have a can of store-bought frosting, you can use that. You could also use peanut butter if you wanted to just put peanut butter on. That would be good. You can put a little bit of just powdered sugar on this. Just sprinkle it over with a sieve. You can leave them plain. They're good plain. If you don't have butter, then you can just take powdered sugar like this and put a little bit of milk in it and make a glaze. Stir it up really well, and then you can just dip your cupcake in that, and that would be good. That's just a little bit of salt in there. I'm just guessing what would be a couple of tablespoons of butter. And you can use your hand mixer for this. So I'm just putting a little bit of milk in, just a tiny bit of vanilla. If you wanted it thicker than that, you could put a little bit more powdered sugar in it. made some of these earlier this week, and I froze them because we were having a family dinner. And after I took them out of the freezer and let them thaw, they were just so good. Okay, I loaded some of these up, but that took all of that frosting. So there you go. Cupcakes without a cake mix or eggs. Thanks for watching. Bye.